Landscape photographers in summer don't mix, but today something unexpected happened. In the summer, landscape photographers often end up thinking about sunrise and sunset, but there is more to it. There's got to be more. We've got a whole planet, a whole world, a whole different set of landscapes and environments to explore. So I've come out really early this morning to a local woodland, and I'm taking an opportunity just after sunrise, before the sun gets up too high, to explore this area, to walk through the woodland in the quiet hours before it gets really busy and before that oppressive heat comes down through the tree canopy. Hopefully that way I can find some quieter images, some things which I can shoot during the summer and I don't have to get up at ridiculous hours to achieve. So let's go and find our first subject. I found my first composition, and it's quite surprised me because it's not what I thought it would be. I had visions of walking around the woodland and finding maybe some small flowers or textures or bark or something that would sort of take my attention, and I'd be going in on some small details. What I've actually found is 3 dead trees stood upright beside each other against the green trees behind and the green of the grass. And considering how hot it's been in the UK and the fact that we're probably going to be declaring a drought within the next couple of weeks, I guess, it's surprising how green this area still is. And that works well for this photograph because I've got these dead barren trees against all this summer growth. So let me get the camera set up and we'll decide how it's going to work out. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the composition yet. I might have to zoom in. I may even shoot it with several frames and stitch them together to create like a panorama, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to do it in 1:16:9 crop on the 24-105 lens. So let's see if I've got it right, what I'm sort of thinking. I don't think this is going to be an award-winning photograph, but it is quite interesting anyway. I just quite like the way that these trees do sit in the frame against the greenery that's around them. I just wish there was a little bit more greenery around, and I'm fighting against the clock a little bit because as the sun rises it's starting to illuminate the trees above, which is taking some of your eye away from the trees that I want to focus on. So I guess what I'll do in post-processing is I'll darken some of the surrounding area down a little bit and boost maybe the sharpness and everything on the barren trees in the foreground. I'll put some viewfinder video up so I can just talk you through that composition a little bit more. So looking through the viewfinder, or should I say on the back of the camera now, I have set the camera up in 16:9 mode. I may even find out that when I actually finally take this picture that I'm going to possibly even make it narrower than that. I'm just going to try and lift the camera up a little bit because I want a bit more space at the top. The only problem is then it introduces some of the sky, which I'm not quite sure about. So I might take a couple of compositions and just see how we get on from that. So let's give you some camera settings and some ideas of where we are. So I'm shooting at ISO 100 mounted on the tripod. There's no reason to worry about camera shake, and even I'm shooting it about f8, quarter of a second. And to be honest, I'm not going to worry too much about getting the cable release out. The 2-second timer is going to be more than enough to take these images. So let's start taking some pictures. I am going to bracket as usual. I've had to lift the camera up, like I said, a little bit just to get some more sky in because I want some more space at the top, and we'll have to resolve that sky in post-processing. So I'm going to get these pictures taken and then you can have a look at the finished result and tell me what you think. I took a set of photographs with a couple of neutral density filters on there. top filter is a 0.75 ND grad, and the bottom filter, turned upside down, is a 0.6 ND grad. It's a bit of an experiment, so I'll tell you which version of the photographs I used when I show you this final image. I used the version with the ND filter and converted to black and white, and the result was quite unexpected. Which is your favourite, colour or this black and white version? Leave a comment below. So I'm really pleased that I managed to find that last photograph. Of course, I'm talking about it now as if it's successful, but I haven't seen the finished image yet. You've got the advantage over me there, and you can make your minds up for yourself. But even still, I really did enjoy taking it, and it was a surprise. And I think that's one of the things to take away from this experience today, is that regardless of what time of the year it is, even in the summer when I'm expecting to find it really hard to find images, that there are little pockets of brilliance that you can find in the landscape, little places that just leap out and speak to you and ask to be captured. And I really like looking for those things where I can find contrast in light, in texture and shade. And in this case, it's against the dead trees and the living trees in the background. So I'm keeping my eyes looking down at the ground at the moment, because as the sun's starting to come up higher, it's going to get very hard to render those highly lit treetops with what lies beneath, which is still in shade and shadow. So I'm hoping to find a little oasis of brilliance again, just down by the woodland floor. Maybe some interesting growth or something, just something that's actually going to make me stop and have a look and see what we're talking about. So I'm going to keep looking, and hopefully I'll find something really soon. Quarter of a second, f16, ISO 400, 2-second timer. There we have it. Well, it looks like I found my little oasis of brilliance down by my feet. Didn't have to walk far, to be honest. I've come into the clearing which I was in before from a slightly different direction and found this dead tree stump with some wonderful brackens and ferns growing off it, some mosses and some new growth of some new pine trees and things which are all sort of clinging to it. And it's really quite lovely to find, because it's amazing in such a small space how much life and growth that you can get on the forest floor. And even in these very dry conditions, it's remarkable how green this woodland is still sort of managing to stay at the moment, and to find this is really quite special. Now this is quite a close-up image, so I've actually been doing a little bit of focus stacking as well. I didn't want to do too much because I just wanted to make the editing of it really simple. So I have shot at f16, and the reason I've done that is to get a really good decent sort of depth of field. And I've taken probably 3 focus stacked images, one on the foreground, one on the midground, and one on the furthest part that I want to be in focus, because I don't mind if the trees in the far right hand side actually fall out of focus. So hopefully I can use just the single f16 image, but if not, I've got a little bit of insurance in the bag by having those focus stacked images. I didn't want to use the focus stacked images because the breeze is coming up a little bit and some of the foliage is moving about. So I've minimised that movement as much as I want to without going to too much of a higher ISO than ISO 400. Ideally I would like to have kept it down to 100, but we'll see how the image comes out anyway. Okay, so I'm going to put this image up on the screen for you now. The sun's coming up. In fact, it's starting to hit the forest floor now because it's getting so high. So hopefully I'm going to find something, but it's looking a little bit doubtful. But one more image today would really sort of make my day. So I'm not going to hang about. I'm going to show you this image, pack up, crack on, and find that last final image that I can share with you. So hang around. Let's go and have a look. What was I thinking? I don't even like this image, but it wasn't a waste of time. Stopping and observing is never a waste of time in photography. That's part of the joy of our hobby and our passion. Being in the moment in nature. I was starting to lose all hope of finding that elusive third frame, but you know, I think I've just found it. It's a bit of a long shot because it's kind of an experimental image really. It's a bit of a tangled, messy composition. There's backlighting, there's a lot of mess in the frame and quite difficult. But I think it's going to actually work quite well. Now I'm set up in the bottom of a ditch, which is why I've kind of stood at the top here doing this piece to camera before I show you what I've set up. But I'll go through my camera setup for you anyway and tell you what it is I'm doing, and I'll shoot a little bit of viewfinder video, though it's quite difficult because it's quite dark where I am, but it's interesting all the same. So let's climb back down this ditch and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of get an idea through the viewfinder video of what it is I'm trying to achieve. So I've got these trees which are covered in moss and they're backlit as well. And the rim lighting around the edges of them is really making them stand out and look really quite beautiful and graphic in their shape. But it is very messy. The background's very, very messy because it's lots of bright highlights and things in it as well. So I don't know how it's going to work. Now I've put a polarizer on the lens just to take some of the sheen off the surface of those leaves and cut down some of that reflected light, so hopefully that will make things stand out a little bit more. I've also put a neutral density filter over the top of the image again to try and calm down some of those highlights, and we're going to be shooting on the darker side to sort of hold in those highlight areas, so it's going to be quite a graphic image I think. But I also hope with the backlighting and the rim lighting that it's going to be quite atmospheric. We just have to see how that works out. So I'm taking a range of exposures. I'm taking some at f8, some at f11 and some at f5.6. What I've decided to do is just use the 2-second timer. The camera's mounted on the tripod, so everything's nice and stable and it should all come out really, really well. It's a bit of an experiment. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to like it myself yet, so have a look at this. And I'm going to carry on my endless circuits of this woodland looking for some images. Well, I must say I didn't think I was going to manage to find a third image. And where I'm walking along at the moment isn't in fact a track, it's a drainage ditch for when the summer is gone and the winter returns and we've got water flowing through the landscape again. There hopefully is a takeaway from this video for you, and that's that as landscape photographers we do dismiss summer, but please take the opportunity, get out each day, even if it's only for a few hours, go out and just see what photographs you can take. There's always something available. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video today and seeing me take a few different images that I wouldn't normally take during the summer. I hope it's inspired you to get out and give it a go. And all I can say is for now, get out, enjoy your photography, whatever it is you enjoy doing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.